So we're here at the Marvell booth here, ARM TechCon 2012. So what are you showing here?
We're showing the Smile Plug. So it's basically a plug computer, which is, Marvell's been in that business for quite a while and been a leader in the plug computer. What this does is serves a classroom of students because we have put an enterprise class Wi-Fi chip in there. So it supports up to 60 students in a classroom, but it's still a Linux server at its core. And basically we've partnered with Stanford, so that's why you see Smile on there. It stands for Stanford Mobile Inquiry-Based Learning Environment, and it is a software application that they have written, and currently the initial phase of it is it runs a real-time question and answer classroom session. So on mobile devices, students would have, an interface that they can enter questions in, and the teacher's running it from her device. She's setting them through the process of making questions, solving questions, but basically the server box is collecting all the questions, sending out the answers, crunching that data, but it's doing it all in real time. So instantly students know whether or not they got the question right. The teacher knows when they've submitted their questions. So it's all just running here on
So what you do, you have one per classroom?
Yeah, you can just have one per classroom, and then students just have any mobile device. It does not have to be any specific OS.
So it could be Android?
It could be Android, or it could be anything that would have a web browser.
So it's web-based?
Yes. So this is a native app, a native Android app that we have running, but you could also do it web-based and just connect to the box via a browser.
So what happens in here?
So this right here is actually showing you, we developed a plug administration API so that you can see what's going on with your Smile Plug. So we have just some silly stuff. So you'll launch it. And then basically right now, see, it hasn't found its Wi-Fi yet.
So this is going over Wi-Fi directly here?
Yep.
This is a hotspot?
Yes, exactly.
And it's a special hotspot. It's not just like a cheap hotspot.
Right,
so
exactly.
What enterprise, what do you call it?
So we had the enterprise class Wi-Fi, so you could support 60 students. And then we have, one of our Armada ARM v7 processors in there. So it's got a great, powerful processor.
Is that the best Wi-Fi hotspot processor in the market, or what kind of processor is that?
Well, of course we would say so, right?
Yeah, because you do actually the processors that go in hotspot devices, right?
Yes. And this is actually, it's a 4x4, and we're also making a 3x3 version. But the important thing for students, or for basically the education environment, is that it supports 60 students. Because before we were doing kind of pilots and testing, and we were using our regular plug computers, but you could only connect like 8 students because they just had micro APs. So we've done some test classes, and we have a classroom in Sunnyvale we're going to give them a whole set of the hardware for, and they're going to run this in their classroom, like day in and day out.
What do you mean by 4x4, 3x3? What does that mean?
So it's basically how many antennas and what its capacity to sort of connect.
So now that has 4 antennas? 4x4 means 4 antenna and 4 and something.
Exactly. And it doesn't really need it because it's small, so it wouldn't have to have that, but that's, 8764 comes as a 4x4, so that's what we're using.
So now it's connected?
Yeah, so now it's telling you it's connected, it's got its IP address, it tells you its SSID. So say, for example, she's in a classroom right next to another plug, and then she can say, oh, students, make sure you're on this wireless network, right? So it just gives her some information. But
the teacher.
The teacher. Yeah. Quick, is she connected?
Yeah.
But then for developers, we're going to add more things to basically, development, so that you'd be able to develop, right here and then right into the plug.
But you could also have apps doing all these questions and answer stuff, right?
You can.
But you don't have them yet, or?
Well, so this has, you have a native app for Android. Here's what the student one looks like.
There's a Smile Student app.
Yeah, this is the Smile Student app. Right, and so, kind of crashed. So this is, basically what it looks like, and they would log in, and then basically they would ask questions. So then the teacher would have her device, and she would be running them through. Are they making questions, solving questions, seeing the results? So in this case, it started with a native Android app, but then we also realized that web-based is really the way to go, because then you can have a classroom of all PC laptops. Or you could have a classroom of just feature phones. You could do it with a feature phone. So that you wouldn't, in developing countries, you wouldn't have all this.
So it's a classroom that's BYOD, bring your own device.
Absolutely.
But you could
and bring your
also
own plug.
give the devices out, but that depends on what's cool.
Right, exactly. Yep.
How much is a Smile?
So right now it's a reference design, and it is like $179 is what Global Scale is selling it for. You know, in mass quantities.
They're just starting, right?
They just started. Yep.
So if they do mass quantities,
definitely under 100.
Definitely under 100, and that's kind of like a classroom server.
Yep, exactly.
Hotspot server Linux box.
You got it.
Is it Ubuntu?
No, it's actually Arch Linux for ARM.
Arch Linux.
We're really excited about that because it's very thin, very lightweight.
And the actual name of this processor, do you call?
It's the Armada 370.
So it's not. Is it related or not?
Not really. This is from more of a mobile processing family, and this is from more of our embedded family.
All right. So, do you call this the education?
Yep.
What do you call it? Project.
It's Classroom 3.0. Smile plug.
Classroom 3.0.